Schon gar nicht bei
Boom. 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 We're live, everybody. Hey, welcome to Red TV and Conversation. I'm Peter Clark. I'm your host. And some of those video clips had Bon Jovi 1987 Slippery When Wet Hair. Don't let this new one fool you. It's really me. Hey, good to see you here. I so appreciate you being here. Especially if you're brand new. If you're brand new and never been here before, thank you for showing up. You have no idea how much it means to me. It really means a lot. And if you're back and you've seen it before, you already know what we're in for, which is even nicer. I mean, it's fantastic. So appreciate that. I'm going to put a little information along the bottom there where you can find me, which I appreciate reaching out. If you got any ideas, suggestions, hey, if you want to support anything I'm doing here, I so appreciate that. Here's the only sales pitch I got. This is it. If you like what you see, Red TV, lifting all the boats. That's all we're trying to do. Lift the boats, telling great stories from beautiful souls like this over here. We just wait. We'll talk about that in a second. Hey, like and share with your network. Really easy, everybody. You know, it's just like being kind. Just be easy and simple, and be kind out there. That's what we're trying to do out here. I'm so excited today. I'm so pumped. But I say, you heard that, I was like, because this energy is so, it's palpable. This energy is something different, and I'm just so excited to share this story and to share this person's soul. I met this person in a very interesting way through an event. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the story is so important, everybody. We're going to be talking about some things that, might trigger a few people as well. So I just want to make sure I put that up there. It's part of the story. It's part of the journey. This is not a sad story. It's taking the worst possible scenario and just making things magical happen. And so, and this person has taken a very traumatic event and just is now changing lives. So, I mean, that's magic. But we will be talking about some content that might trigger some people. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. And, again, it's intended to put it all into context to make sure you understand that the message is still, it's about thriving, surviving, making a difference, getting out there. You'll see it's super, super inspiring. So, let's talk about this beautiful soul right here. I mean, this is good stuff, everybody. This is good stuff. I just learned a couple things about Stephanie just a few minutes ago, actually, as we just logged on. But this is why this is going to be really cool. We're going to have a good conversation about that. I met her, actually. She's the president of The Gathering. I know you've seen me talk to people that have been at The Gathering. I've actually talked to a few of the people that actually have founded the Gathering as well. It's a Forbes top-rated business summit. It's way more than a summit and a conference. It's not even that. It's a gathering. That's what it is. And it's basically disruptors, people in marketing and business from around the world that gather, and they celebrate all kinds of interesting things about being fearless leaders and basically talking about brands and all the things they stand for, but it's way more than that. And they're having their 10th anniversary next year, so please check that out. I'll put some information about the cult gathering. She's a champion for mental health, my guest, founder of Light Up the Dark. That's what we're going to talk about, a charitable organization that indeed it shines a light and supports those who may find themselves in a really dark place right now. So we're going to talk about the context of where that came from and what she does. I mean, the physical, actually, what she does in this to light up the dark is absolutely fantastic. Didn't know this. I'm going to share this with you right now. Grew up on a farm. Had no idea. Didn't know this stuff. NCAA soccer player. Didn't know that. I mean, it's fantastic. This blew my mind. and she's going to have to expand on this. Survived flesh-eating disease. I'm not making fun. That sounds super serious because I know what that is. That's serious stuff, super serious stuff. And she mentors, she coaches and she mentors young athletes and professionals, which is fantastic. She's lived out my way before, which is in Calgary. She lived out here and she lived in Ontario and Costa Rica, these kinds of things. Most importantly, she is a beacon of light. That's what she is. She's a beacon of light, and she's going to just light up your day today. I'm going to tell you something. I'm super pumped. If you got questions, by the way, put them up and everything, and make sure you're connecting with this beautiful soul. Please, everybody, will you welcome Stephanie Thompson? How are you?
Hello, Peter. Good. Thank you so much for having me. Great to see you.
Are you kidding? Of course. It's so awesome to see you. You are, I listen, and I knew, just so everyone knows, I just found it today. She flew this morning, and where she is right now is not her home, not her office. She found a place so that she could still connect and keep it. I'm so grateful for that. You have no idea. Some people could literally get a hangnail sometimes and call me and say, hey, I got to reschedule. But you fly in the morning and go find an office. Thank you for doing that. I so appreciate that. First question always, how are you? Are you okay? You and your family, everyone okay?
Yes. Thank you so much for asking. And, flight was amazing. It's a privilege to be able to travel again. So that's how I'm taking the experience, and the family, friends, everyone is doing really well. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Hey, I never get that. I appreciate that. I'm good. That's an offline conversation. I'm doing okay though. The main thing is I had some challenges back in December physically with my heart. And now my heart is working really well. So that is really important. And we're going to talk about a little bit about stress, anxiety, these kinds of things. And I can tell you that it does affect your physical, as we all know, it affects you physically. That happened to me, that's for sure. So thank you for asking. I'm doing okay. That is for sure. Hey, speaking of doing well and beautiful things. Hey, I don't know if you know my beautiful spouse. Did you meet 𝗏𝗏 𝗵𝗏 before? Did you ever meet 𝗏𝗏? I don't know.
I believe so. I didn't have the pleasure.
There's her cards. She has these really cool cards. They're called Remind cards. Okay, and I'm gonna and they're really cool. They basically I have used these cards in the past with guests where we're just going to see if there's any connection point or any intention here set today. So I just think, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things. So I don't know how it's going to play out, but I want to support my beautiful wife who supports me in all kinds of different ways. That is for sure. And I just want to support her with this little project here. And so you tell me when you want to stop, and I'll just take the card off the top. And we'll just see what intention we could put out there for some people today.
All right, you can stop right there.
Okay, I was halfway through, so I'm going
to
do it. Take it right off the top. We're going to read it. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this stuff, Stephanie. This happens so often. And the reason why I'm going to ask you about this today, I'm going to ask you this question today. And here it is. Here's the card. I just want to show you right up front so no one knows. Look, forgiveness. Forgiveness. We all make mistakes. Sometimes can get the better of us. Remember to forgive yourself. You're doing the best you can. So is everyone else. Learn from it and move forward. Wow.
Beautiful.
I don't know what to say, everybody. There's the card. It is all about forgiveness. I really wanted to talk to you about that in the future here, a little bit about this story and so on. But thank you, 𝗏𝗏 𝗵𝗏. This is a beautiful person in my life, so I want to support her. That is for sure. So I appreciate her being here with these cards. I think these cards are really, really cool. Okay, we got to put things into context real quick because there's so much to cover. I've done a little bit of research. Of course, I always do that. Found a beautiful little video clip out there. And I'm going to play little snippets of it as we kind of go out through the thing. And I just thought right now to break the ice real quick, and we can jump into this. I want you to expand on. We have to go very quickly into a direction, people, that will put everything into context. So I just want to remind everybody, we're going to be talking about things like this where there's some violence involved and sexual assault. It is intended to put it into context so that the story is told properly. So please stay with us on that. It's really, really important that we tell this story. And I just thought we could start with a really quick little clip Stephanie, and then we'll come back and kind of just talk from that. But beautiful job on the video, by the way. And this was done, I think, in 2019.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and so I'm pretty sure it's, again, 3 years, so you can add to all of the context here. Here's a quick little 30 seconds to kind of get us started here, everybody.
My mental health journey began just over 2 years ago. A man had approached me and said he was an Uber driver and asked if I needed a ride. Unfortunately, he was not an Uber driver. I was raped and assaulted, and to be honest, I thought I was going to be killed. I'm extremely grateful to be alive today, but it's been a very challenging journey for me.
Here's some of the background very, very quickly and abruptly, everybody. I just wanted to get right into it. Stephanie, lead us into that story, and maybe over the last couple of years, since then. So I'll leave it to you. This is your platform.
Thank you. No, I so appreciate the space, Peter, and thank you for providing that, that warning to everyone and anyone that's listening. If you do feel triggered, I just welcome you to, take a step away, take a break, or even remove yourself from the conversation. And I'm always happy personally as well to have a private conversation. I just wanted to share that to start. So as the video shared, this was now more than 2 years ago, but it's still very recently that I was raped and assaulted by a man posing as an Uber driver. And, just saying that feels so blunt, but really, that honesty is the premise of everything that I've done from that day moving forward, because I had no idea that that was even possible. And, ever since that moment, my life completely changed. Who I am as a person, my values, my morals, everything about me changed. And, I'll say, I'm sure, we'll dive into what those moments were like right after, but, really encompassing, I've struggled with depression, I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And so I've been navigating that from a personal perspective for the last, 4 years. And it's been, like I said, a very, very challenging journey, but it's brought me to who I am and where I am today. And so my mission and part of having conversations like this is to spread love and awareness and show people that they're not alone and help them find the light in the darkness. So that's the premise behind, behind Light Up the Dark and beginning this journey.
Yeah. And again, thank you. Again, we're just going to continuously remind everybody we're trying to make sure that we're sharing this in a way that it doesn't trigger you to the point where the information is not more helpful than hurtful. Okay, everybody. So thank you for always, let's remind people of that. The sense of the light up the dark, though, from the trauma part, let's jump into that. You use physically that, or the words PTSD, and of course it's always associated normally with people returning from war and conflict and these kinds of things. And of course, I think we're more aware of it now than ever before, just because we have more access to information and so on. Talk to us a little bit about that part of the journey for you, like where instantly, again, this idea of this event happens, there's so much overwhelm and so on, and instantly you can spiral very quickly into depression, anxiety, and fear. And then, of course, PTSD is the culmination of this, hangs around then for multiple years afterwards. Talk about this whole sense of PTSD in your journey.
Yes. So as you touched on, Peter, right after the assault, what I experienced was extreme shock. And that was also something that I wasn't familiar with. So I was actually, and I share this very openly, I was completely numb. I told a few people right after, and I say it was like I was sitting around a campfire telling a story about someone else. It was almost like I was removed from the assault. And I'll never forget my mom, her reaction. Like, she just said, "Wow, you're so calm." And it was this very eerie feeling. And I want to share that because I was so confused, and I took it as it must not be that serious. I feel like I'm numb, I'm fine, and I can tell you that shock wore off about 3 weeks later. And everyone's timing is different. It's the release of hormones that protects your body in a traumatic situation, whether it's assault or car accidents. This is what I learned through therapy. So for me, it was 3 weeks after the assault that it hit me like a freight train. And oh, I can't even begin to describe the place that I was in when it all hit me and I realized how devastating and how serious this was. And that, even that very short 3-week experience derailed me because was very confused. And so getting help and having professionals help me understand what shock was and why it took time for it to wear off, and that, Stephanie, this is very serious. This, you're not okay. So that was that first kind of, I'll say, very short chapter after the assault, following which just went into a very, very deep depression. And that looked like waking up every morning and thinking, how am I going to make it through today? I do not think I can make it through today. And it sounds so dark, but it's so true. And I remember it so powerfully, every single day. And I went on operating with not telling many people what happened to me. And I've mastered this putting on a smile and trying to still radiate positive energy. And fast forward when people say to me, Stephanie, I had no idea you were going through that, which again, I'm sure we'll expand on together, Peter. But following depression, that then, after seeking help, professional help, they diagnosed me with PTSD and saying all the things that you're experiencing, they matter and they're important. And this is what happens when you are put in this traumatic situation. So again, you go through day in and day out of questioning yourself and questioning what you're experiencing and trying to diminish it. That's very, very common, at least was for me, of trying to diminish the really horrible and powerful feelings of depression. And so again, through professional help, having that diagnosis of PTSD, I struggled with, because as you touched on, Peter, I thought it was only veterans that had PTSD, and obviously incredible human beings. And I felt like I didn't deserve the diagnosis of PTSD. And I now hear people talk, they say, oh, yes, I agree. And so again, which is why I share this, because I didn't think I deserved it. So I continued to diminish what I was actually experiencing. So once I was diagnosed and started to embrace it, accept it, and have grace for myself, it definitely helped shift me into more of a healing process.
Gosh, that's so important what you just said. I want to reiterate what you just said. This idea of I didn't feel I deserved that diagnosis. And because again, the term PTSD is so associated with again, I'll just use the generic idea of coming from war or conflict, these kinds of things, or very heroic events. Actually, if you think about firefighters running into a fire and things happen and they feel, but yet PTSD is a diagnosis. It's a real thing, and it's a medical condition, and it's something we need to talk about. Very similar to the way we need to talk more about, again, mental health and awareness and all these things that we're talking about, anxiety and depression and so on. I want to talk about the feelings, some of those feelings that might have been tied up into causing those depression and so on. I'm wondering if you can expand on this idea of the feelings that in my research of this, which is incredible, by the way, and I'm saying this not to everybody listening, but especially all my male friends. This is not a women's issue, what we're talking about, okay? This is not a women's issue. This is a human issue, and we really need men to be involved with the understanding what's really happening out there. With that being said, the feelings of, I read how common it is, the feelings of guilt and shame that falls around that, whether the experience or why did I survive it, or why did it happen to me, or maybe it was me, or talk to us about how that kind of came together to probably push you towards, PTSD and so on.
You'll see me this conversation. I'm taking deep breaths. It is, to this day, a very hard thing for me to speak about, but I'm going to continue to push through and hopefully help others by sharing. So if you see me taking deep breaths, that's why I'm.
Please do.
Thank you. So, you touched on it perfectly. I would say the biggest emotion and feeling that I experienced was shame, and which is just heartbreaking that, looking back on your younger self and seeing how much I was impacted by that shame. And that was from the moment, from the moment I dialed 911, the shame I had, sitting in front of these detectives, sharing what just happened, to sitting at home, sitting down my mom and telling her, or, speaking to a friend and telling them. It was, that shame is so powerful. And you'll hear me refer a lot to the incredible Brene Brown, and she does incredible work on shame and vulnerability. And so she was a real beacon for me in helping understand that shame and how powerful it is. Because again, it can be very, very confusing and continue for me, like I said, it made me diminish those really, really important feelings that I was experiencing. So shame was very, very powerful. And again, it took me years to work through that and understand exactly what that is and not feel shame and guilty. And, for anyone that's watching that has, hopefully not, but it is more common than you think, that has experienced assault or sexual assault. A lot of us, myself included, immediately you think it was my fault, or I got the questions of what were you wearing, and I still can't believe that's a thing in this day. And I'll give you an example of one of the experiences that caused a lot of shame for me. Someone that I ended up telling, and again, sort of to take a step back, I don't think people understand the magnitude of how difficult it is to sit down a person and tell them this, this experience, because you feel so full of, like I said, guilt, shame. I felt dirty, and that's a really hard word to say, but it's true. That's how I felt. So, I sat down my family members one by one, and, there was a person that I did share with, and their first reaction was, well, what happened to your self-defense? She said, Stephanie, I thought you were an athlete. I thought you had been stronger than that. And that's verbatim. And obviously, because it's stuck with me, and we'll talk about forgiveness later on, which is so important. But that statement, like, absolutely sent me into a massive spiral of shame and guilt. So it's, and I share those words because some people go, oh no, you don't know how you're going to react in those situations of responding to a loved one or a friend who's been through trauma. So again, I'm very honest that people go, okay, I now know, how to be more aware and how to approach someone, after this. So that's a great example of that experience, what that person said to me. That shame, I felt that shame for years after, because I felt I was an athlete. I was strong. I wasn't strong enough. I was strong enough to survive, thankfully, but, not strong enough to remove this person. So that feeling of shame is really, really powerful, and it's taken me a lot of professional help to work through that. I could not have done that alone.
Wow, that's a lot to digest, everybody. But it is unfathomable that and it's still very common, from what I understand. I've never been in the actual situation where I've seen it being asked, but those kinds of questions from people of authority to say, what were you doing? What were you wearing? Why were you there? Whatever the particular questions are, number one. And then number two, where other people might be very quick to think, well, why didn't this kick in for you? Back to your point, your athleticism, your awareness, your training, whatever it is. Again, always bouncing it back to the person who's literally just sharing, trying to unravel this unbelievably complex event, and instantly there's a sense of judgment, and then on top of that, instantly is fear and shame, and gosh almighty, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm hoping people here, whoever's listening right now who needs to hear this, is hearing that that's a common thing. So and again, this is what it's about, talking this through, so that you keep going back to, again, talking it through, you keep going back to the support part. I got to jump to that, because again, the getting professional help and being able to tell your story, was that hard for you to kind of say, you know what, I can't do this just with my friends either. I can't do it with my family. I think I have to go talk to some professionals. Can you take away a stigma for a few people who might be thinking, I can do this on my own? Maybe they need to go and see someone who actually is a professional, and they can take you in another direction that maybe family and friends can't.
Of course, yeah. So I was the prime example of type A, hyper-driven, hyper-independent, and I thought I could conquer anything. And I can tell you that all came to a very sad and ugly head when this happened to me, and I realized I cannot do this alone. And thankfully, I would say, it was in a time frame that, we've progressed in the mental health space. Still a long way to go, but I do feel like I felt brave enough and safe enough to reach out and ask for help. I knew once that shock wore off and it really hit me, I said, I cannot do this on my own. Like this, I'm going to need help. I think the most daunting component to that was, where do I even begin? And I hear that from a lot of people that connect with me and say, Stephanie, I just don't know where to start, which is again why I do things like this and speak to people, because I just spread my resources as far and as wide as possible, because it took me, Peter, years of therapists, trying different therapists. And again, going back to that point of how traumatic it is to retell this story again and again. So imagine, I'm in the thick of my trauma and healing, and I'm telling therapist after therapist after therapist, and not feeling connected to them was really, really hard. And honestly, I almost gave up on getting help. And a beautiful friend of mine, Diana, she actually went and researched and gave me an entire list and said, these are the top professional stuff. Like, you got to keep trying. Don't give up. Thank goodness for her. I love her just so much. And she and I found a therapist that I connected with. So I tell everyone, it might not be the first person, it might be the 10th. Just please do not give up. And I'm here to provide my resources, my therapist, because they've changed my life. And I can honestly say very boldly, I would not be here today if I did not get professional help. And so I'm just, again, beyond grateful for all those people who have supported me.
Wow. I hope that resonates with me. It should resonate with everybody that at the higher level of this idea of mental health and wellness. And if you're feeling anxious and anxiety, forgetting even about the cause. I mean, the cause is shocking enough, but at the highest levels, we need to reach out to professionals. If I break my leg or my wrist or something, I'm going to see my doctor, and don't even think about it. When my brain is not working so well, we question it. So, but then when it's attached to an event, I think that's even more, it should be more obvious to all of us, not to the person that it's happening to. I'm talking to all of us. We go, well, we should go, and no shame to that whatsoever, to be able to kind of figure out what our next steps are. So I appreciate you sharing that. There's so many beautiful comments being shared. I want you to know that. I know you're going to be traveling and on the road and stuff like that, but everybody who's sharing comments, I'll jump in and make sure I get back to you. I hope sometime, Stephanie, over the next couple of weeks, you can pop in and just and doing this. Here's a few right here. Hannah, thanks for being here. I'm excited to be here and support you while supporting Stephanie's story. So I appreciate that. I just want to share this name with you, Stephanie. Chris Lomas, he has an organization called 𝗶𝗶𝘁𝗵. He's basically on the border of Moldova and Ukraine. And his number one priority, if you will, there's many of them, but it is about human trafficking, and mostly with females and girls. Happens with a lot of people in the world, but females and girls, where Moldova is sadly the human trafficking capital of the world. So he is very sensitive to this event that you experienced, as millions and millions of females and girls have experienced around the world. So I just want to introduce you to that beautiful soul. He's making a difference in millions of lives. So a shout out to you, Chris. I appreciate that. Daniel's in Maryland. So I'm not going to give away your location, but he's not too far from you now, Stephanie, as we speak. So it's all good. Chris is just saying, yeah, my heart is aching. I'm sitting task force with the UNHCR in context of the war and listening to harrowing stories of rape and abuse. And there you go. So thank you for tuning in, and thanks for that message. I know that this is not unusual conversation for you, Chris, and I know that Stephanie can appreciate your support on that. That's for sure. Here's someone who really likes you. Isn't she amazing? Yes, she is. Who is that? Is that someone you know?
That is my beautiful mother. She's part of the reason why I'm here today.
That's your mom?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I wish your mom could just phone me right now. If you want to phone me, Mom, you can do that. Phone, text Stephanie right now, and you can just phone me right now, and we'll get you on the. I'd love to have you here, but I can imagine. I can't even see. There you go. That's a great segue into. We talked about the professional help, but let's talk about that. I mean, how unbelievably important is family and friends in this process? So, like your mom. So, talk to me about that, because I've always thought about what those relationships end up sort of experiencing. They change. The dynamics obviously change, and I'm thinking especially maybe I'm because I don't know that relationship, but a mother and daughter relationship must go to another level. So take your breath. It's okay. Take your time. I don't want to take you anywhere. That's too much. But I'm just thinking that's a very powerful relationship.
Yeah, so I'm getting teary. That's why you'll see me taking big deep breaths, which is part of my my regulating process. But yes, so I mean, my strength comes directly from my mother. Oh, she is just an absolute force. And growing up around her, around all the other really strong women in my family has shaped me into who I am today. And so I recognize a lot of my strength and survival over the last, few years following this assault has been because of my mom and because of the women I'm surrounded with. Both friends and family have created just this incredible pack of just great human beings who support each other and lift each other up. And so it's amazing what you can do when you start to attract, those types of people. So, my mom has been such a rock for me, and I'll forever remember the day that I sat her down and told her, that this had happened to me. And I can't imagine being a mom and hearing that from, your child. And so I recognize how difficult it was. Difficult for me, but I'm assuming 10x difficult for a parent, for your loved one to experience that. So she just has such a special place in my heart, and is my hero. And so we've been on a really interesting journey. And I would say, I'm sure she would say as well, that her generation wasn't as aware of mental health and the challenges, and it was more of a, suck it up mentality. And, you touched on it, Peter, but I come from a farming background. So
Yep.
we're rough and tough and just kept, moving forward no matter what. And so this experience for me was such a pivotal moment to pause and go, you know what, like, this isn't a suck it up situation. This is a life changing moment for me, and I need to start going much deeper in order to heal. And so, Patty, and we've been on such an interesting and a beautiful journey together, and she's learned a lot from me. I've learned so much from her, and we've taken on this challenge together. And so, it breaks my heart to think about the people that are out there who go through something like this and don't have family or friends, which is again why I continue to do things like these conversations. Because my hope is to be that person that someone can reach out to, because like I said, my family and that professional help is the reason why I'm still here today. So I'm just beyond grateful for them. And it hasn't been an easy journey learning about mental health and how to navigate those dark days. But again, my mom, the women in my family, my entire family and friends have just been monumental to my healing process. So I'm very grateful for them.
Oh, that's amazing. Hey, catch your breath for 30 seconds. I'll show this quick little clip and it explains a little bit about what you just said there.
Over the last 2 years, I realized how incredibly lucky I am to have such beautiful, incredibly supportive family and friends. And it just broke my heart to think that people could be going through what I am and have absolutely no one there for them. I'm very grateful. I need to do something, and I need to help other people through their journeys. And that was one of the biggest inspirations for me to share my story and launch the Light Up the Dark initiative.
That's amazing. Yeah, see, there's from that clip. Hey, I just want to give credit, make sure credit is credit due. If I'm not mistaken, that video produced by Rob Anderson, correct?
Yes. Beautiful human.
So there you go. I want to make sure that he doesn't think, hey, this guy's showing all kinds of cool stuff. But kudos to you, Rob, to work with Stephanie on that project and put that video together. The video's out on YouTube, everybody. And so I'm just showing you little clippets of it, but you can go out and find that. Simply just Google Stephanie Thompson and type in Light Up the Dark, and that'll show up on your feed in YouTube. So good job, Rob. A shout out to Rob. I want to make sure that we give credit due. Again, there's so many people here watching you. You have no idea. Dr. Rhonda, especially. I mean, I so appreciate your support. Here's Daniel. Yeah, I absolutely love how much your story, you're sharing to help others. I mean, just amazing. You know, again, thank you, Stephanie, for your vulnerability, sharing your story. I feel your strength, your courage. PTSD, depression, anxiety is so real. Absolutely. You know, Rhonda is going to share a story here, and I just think this is the right place. I want to make sure that you see this, Stephanie. And I didn't know this, Dr. Rhonda. I did not know this. I was a Lyft driver and was almost raped 3 years ago by a customer. Thankfully, I've taken self-defense and counseling after being raped in my 20s and childhood a few times. So there's some heavy trauma there. I still have complex PTSD, and certain things can trigger fear responses by my mind and body. Disassociation is common as the mind and body protects itself. I think you were talking about that a little bit, Stephanie, as well. My best to you and your continued support of service of others. Dr. Rhonda. Thanks for sharing that, Stephanie. Yeah, that's tough stuff. That's really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda. I so appreciate you sharing that. I'm so sorry for what you experienced.
Yeah. Yes. Here's a beautiful soul. Here's a beautiful soul. Look at that. I just wanted you to see that face. I knew that would make you smile. MJ De Palma, good to see you, my friend. Always good to see you.
Talk
Yeah.
about sports.
And it was because of the event. I mean, the gathering, you working there, Stephanie, you bringing in MJ. I went up to Banff and then experienced, and you see someone like a rock star like MJ, and then this is what's so beautiful about these kinds of things, these conversations we bring in people together. And yeah, sorry about that.
I think we can all take a nice deep
Yeah.
breath here. It's just
Quick little breath here. So I just wanted to show you some of the beautiful names that are here. They really are supporting you, and so appreciate that. Atlanta, thank you, 𝗟𝗶𝘁𝗵. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that from Atlanta. Always good to see. Again, these are as a male. Again, I'm shouting out to my male counterparts as well. This is not a female woman's story, okay, everybody. This is something much deeper than that. It involves all of us. So want to make sure that we recognize that. So lots of people supporting you and mostly the courageousness to come out and tell these stories and so on. I want to take you in the direction of the mental health part of it, because it's obviously top of mind. I don't think the pandemic has been very good to any of us, and certainly has not been good to people that may have been at risk for these kinds of events to happen to them, whether it's at home. The statistics on sexual violence is just mind-boggling. So over the last couple of years, I'm just thinking about mental health and awareness and so on. Talk to us just a little bit about, your over the last your own 2 years. I mean, you've had to experience what we've all experienced, and still have this story as a backdrop to what you're doing. So you had that story, and then the last 2 years sit on top of that. Just talk about the mental health part of this, and again, just how important it is to tell the story and make sure you're reaching out to people and so on.
yeah. So I wanna pause and just have whoever's listening, either now or future. I want you to take a look at your phone or look at your email, and just pick the first 5 people in your email or on your phone. And when you look at those 5 people, know that at least one of those 5 people is suffering or will suffer from mental health or mental illness. And just that in itself, especially looking at your phone and the people you love, it hits you pretty hard to realize how many people are truly impacted. And that's a statistic from the Canadian Mental Health Association, who I've done some incredible work with. But that stat was pre-COVID. So they're still analyzing the impact of the last few years. And, I can share from my own personal experience, it was a very dark few years. And, I came off this incredible high of running blindfolded, raising awareness, and, raising funds for great organizations. And then COVID hit. And I can honestly admit to all of you that I spiraled into a very dark place. Most people don't actually know that. I've actually never shared that with only a few people who know how much I was suffering the last few years. And it was the continued healing from the assault, and the continued trauma, but then this whole other challenge that I know everyone else was going through. And so I think everyone constantly said, we're in this together, you're not alone. But something I continuously share is that no matter how many times you hear that, you still feel so alone. And I don't know the solution for that. Of how do you not feel alone in that darkness when you are suffering with mental health. So it's an ongoing journey for me, and I'm still navigating that. I feel like I've come, and the other side, at least, have a bit more happiness and light in my life. And again, that's due to all the incredible people around me and people like yourself, Peter, who I get to connect with. But it was a really challenging few years. So thankfully, I spent a lot of time on the board for the Canadian Mental Health Association, and was helping other people navigate this and helping, their organization through this just disaster that everyone was experiencing. So it was really hard for me to every week we'd have meetings and hear the statistics and hear how much people were suffering, not only, day to day, but the people on the front lines, the people who are going and visiting the, patients through Canadian Mental Health Association. It was really difficult to hear that everyone was experiencing it. So not only did I suffer, but I know there were a lot of people out there as well. And so what got me through was just my continued healing journey of seeking professional help. I still saw my therapist virtually, which is not the same. But just like if you and I, Peter, were in the room together, I'm sure it'd be fireworks. But it's, having that professional help is really what got me through, and knowing that there are brighter days ahead. But it was really difficult. So I feel for everyone, that had their own challenges over the last couple of years. So again, why I continue to do things like this to try to help others.
Awesome. Fantastic. And I agree with you. Some of those stats, I know that you do work with, again, Canadian mental health awareness. I mean, there's the stats that are out there are shocking. So like in North America, in Canada specifically, 1 in 4 North American women will be sexually assaulted during their lifetime. I mean, it's a big number, everybody. I mean, we're not talking about, this is just, again, if 1 in 4 planes were crashing every single day that took off, we would lose our minds. I mean, we would lose our minds.
That's a good point.
And yet 1 in 4 women will experience this, and we seem to be, we're not comfortable with it, but we certainly are trying to figure out how to put the things in place that can help everyone. A couple other things there. Again, every 100. Now, this is really important. That's why I'm sharing the story I have up here. I just want to read this stat to you, Stephanie. And I know that you'll totally relate to this because it takes so much courage to step forward, as you said, because you instantly feel judged when you're saying it. But every 100 incidents of sexual assault, only 6 are reported to the police. So they're suggesting that it's well under 10%. So think about that, everybody. Only 6 people, 6 people, I'm not sure exactly, again, let's just use this report, 6% of people are reporting it.
Wow.
So I think that's an overwhelming stat right there of how much people are holding these stories inside.
Yes.
Right.
And if you don't mind me touching on that, Peter, because
Sure.
it's really important and something that I recognized through my journey when I did learn, very, very terrifying statistics like that, and again, like for me, I look at it as, it was such a I'll say a privilege in a way of the fact that I was even able to call 911 and report it. Like that in itself, I recognize I am so lucky because there are many, many people in this world who aren't able to do that. And so that was, that was sad for me when I realized how many people do not speak up, and the amount of people who have reached out to me after sharing my story and said, I never told a soul. I know they're 50, they're 60, they're 70, and they said, I kept this in my entire life. And that just shatters my heart to know that people, because I know what it feels like, that weight to carry that your entire life. So I constantly try to encourage people to stand up and speak out. And it is absolutely terrifying. And, it takes a lot of courage. I would say one of the things that I do share on my website for any of those who, I wish that no one would go through this experience, but I think it's important for people to realize that one of the things that I learned right away after my assault was the first thing that I wanted to do was shower. I use the term dirty, and I'm recoiling internally just saying that word, but it's literal, physical, figuratively, emotionally, you feel so dirty. So the first thing I wanted to do was just shower. And thankfully, I got to my friend's house, and her dad was a police officer. And that's when I had called 911. And he said, Stephanie, I'm so sorry, but you can't shower. You cannot, just don't move. I need you to sit still and just wait till the police arrive. And had he not been there, I know the first thing I would have done is got in the shower. And they may have lost, a significant amount of evidence. And so, again, just sharing this with you all of you, I still feel that shame kicking in, but I think this is really important for people to know that please do not shower. And if you can, and if you feel safe enough to call the police. So I do also know that they are able to collect evidence a couple of days after. I'm not going to state the number because I'll leave that to the experts, but they shared that with me as well. So even if you can't call the police right away, just please don't shower and call the police, when you're safe. So I wanted to touch on that, Peter, because
absolutely
so many people don't know that, and I wouldn't have known that. So Roger, an incredible friend of mine who was a police officer, and he also helped me and helped them. Ended up actually catching the man who did this. So I owe that to him.
Oh, all of this is, there's nothing we're not leaving anything off the table here today, everybody. It's so important to have these conversations and hold space for this for people that need to hear it. If one person heard that today and recognized the importance of it, again, it's not just for females to hear it. I want to keep emphasizing that it's every single person that hears this, and the male voice needs to be louder when it comes to these things. That these are our moms and our sisters and our aunts, and these are our fellow human beings that are experiencing violence. Let's make no mistake about it. It's violence, and thus what you just talked about. Police reports are filled out, investigations are done, which means there's protocols to that. And you just used a very good tip for somebody who sadly either experience it or know of somebody who does. So really, really important. I do want to talk about your website. I'm going to bring it up in a little bit. And we're definitely going to put it up so everyone can see it and so on. I just play another little clip about what you actually do. I mean, I think this is it is just so inspiring. I mean, physically what you do. So I'm going to play a little clip, and then we'll talk about literally what you do when you talk about I run. And just like, she doesn't just run, everybody. So have a little watch of this.
I started my Light Up the Dark training actually on a treadmill. I didn't even know if I could do this. So I would go to the gym, go on a treadmill, put on my blindfold, and hold on for dear life. That's when I approached Sam, my guide runner, and asked her to embark on this crazy, incredible journey, and she was in. Running a half marathon blindfolded was incredibly challenging. To be in complete darkness for that long is absolutely terrifying. For me, this run and pushing through that 21 kilometers blindfolded is symbolic of what it's like going through, depression and challenges with mental health. There are times where you literally feel like you are consumed and surrounded by darkness, and there is no light. And it's a very, very scary thing to experience.
Wow. I mean, they're just explain. I mean, you explained it so well there, but I mean, the magic of coming up with that analogy of, I imagine it right now, like running, and I do have a treadmill, so I'm going to try this experiment because I know it would probably be a little overwhelming to try to run, but then you again took it to outside where you're doing half marathon and other things, and this idea of running, but you don't know where you're going and you can't see the next step ahead of you and so on. The metaphors are so powerful. Just expand on that for us, if you will, that whole idea of running blindfolded. I think it's just amazing. So kudos to you.
Thank you. You know what? I think operate at such a fast pace in my day-to-day life. I forget, that I did those. So as I'm rewatching that video, thank you for sharing, Pierre. I'm getting emotional going. It's very rare that I say I'm proud of myself, but I can say that I'm very proud of that. I'm very grateful for Sam who ran along my side and has been my rock. So love her so much. So yes, I mean, there, like you touched on it, Peter, there is so much powerful symbolism and metaphors a part of this. And so the quick background is, if anyone has ever been to Toronto, Ontario, there's a restaurant called 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗏, and it's a restaurant where you eat in complete darkness, and the waiters are actually visually impaired. And so it's a remarkable experience. If you go to Toronto, please check it out. It's called 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗏. And I went to dinner there, and I was sitting in in the darkness, and I started to have a panic attack, and which is very prevalent for survivors and those of PTSD. And so it was in that moment that it just really hit me how terrifying it was to be in that darkness and I couldn't see. And that tiny moment spiraled into this idea. Now I was going to wait. I kept saying to myself, I'll wait until I'm fully healed, which at the time I didn't know that this was a lifelong journey. And so it was when the unfortunate incident happened where the man who assaulted me, he was arrested and on bail, and he actually escaped the country. And I found out that I may never have a court date and I may never have that justice. And that I was in such a dark place, but somewhere deep within, I found that light, and I said, you know what? I can't change what happened to me, but if I can help just one other person, then I'm going to share my story. And so that courage came from deep within, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do this in a unique way. And I started, like I said, started training on a treadmill, holding on with a blindfold, and I'm sure you guys can all imagine what that would appear like to look like in a gym. And I just started training, and so as I shared on that video, it is so symbolic of what it's like for me struggling with depression, of being so alone and consumed by darkness, and you can't see that light. And so the experience of running blindfolded, even in itself, is so symbolic. And you touched on it beautifully, Peter, of not knowing that next step.
Yeah.
Trusting the person beside you to guide you on this journey. That's big for me to let go and know, she has me, Sam has me, and I trust her and I love her. And that in itself is really powerful. It was such a unique experience, and to see what it's done for other people, and even myself on my own healing journey, has been really, really rewarding. So I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to be able to even run, to be able to even, be here today to tell my story. So that's the premise behind running blindfolded.
It is. I'm telling you, there is so. I love metaphors. I think life is a metaphor. I really do. And when I saw that, the concept of it, you just said it so well. I mean, the idea that you literally have to hold somebody, the vulnerability of that, the again, we can all relate to that. I don't even know what the next step is, and that's obviously metaphorically speaking, but in your case, you were literally covering up that and making your body physically feel it again. I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't know what the next step will hold. I don't know if I'm going to fall down. I don't know if where the next bump is coming. I can't see. I can't anticipate all these things. Just so beautifully done, and then of course to raise the awareness of seeing that. So if I was sitting at an event and I saw that, I'd be okay. Well, I need to understand what this is and support that person. So good on you to recognize that. I do want to touch on that part of it as well, about the giving back part, because obviously this is what this is about. I mean, you've created this beautiful website, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.ca, and you're trying to raise awareness, but you also, of course, you raise some money, and in the process give it back to charities that are out there helping people and so on. Why is it? This idea of philanthropy, I've been asking people this question because I'm passionate about it. I mean, this idea of giving back, and of course, it's a very aristocratic word, but it definitely does mean the love of humanity. What's your definition of that? I'm curious. What is philanthropy? What is it for? What is it?
Great question. So, one of the most incredible human beings that's been brought into my universe is 𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who you had on the other week, Peter.
She's I too, by the way, just so you know.
Oh,
she's on. Just so you know, she's a month off.
Yes.
She's not responding to anything, from what I understand.
I've tried.
She literally sent me an email and said, "Say hello to Stephanie."
She is a. Oh, that is a beautiful, beautiful human being right there. And I look at, my professional life and how it's brought me to 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, to Sona, to just incredible, incredible women and humans. And I'm forever grateful that they've come into my space. And, similar to yourself, Peter, you're really special people. So Sona, and Benevity, I've watched since I moved to Calgary 3 years ago. I found out about their company and went, wait a second, this is a game changer, and have cheered them on from afar and from close, and have got to meet a lot of their team members. So incredible organization, incredible people. But they obviously are the masters in, I would say, not just philanthropy, just goodness. And I know, I watched Sona's session a couple of weeks ago, and she said, the world needs more goodness. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And so, and I believe she touched on this, or maybe MJ did. There is still a bit of a negative connotation around philanthropy, I find. And so I find that fascinating, and it makes me sad because it's so important and it's meaningful and impactful. But I'm always very curious as to why there is that negative connotation. So I don't have the answer for that, but it takes just continuous effort to, I'll even say, break that stigma and show the world that, that's the direction that we're headed, is doing good for the world and doing good for each other. So I'll shift the philanthropy turn just to goodness in spirit of Sona, true goodness for just showing love to other people and other organizations, and just making this world a better place. So that's kind of my own personal definition and my own personal mission as well.
I love it. I love it. Great. We'll give a shout out to benevity.com. Yeah, you're right. Sona is just spectacular. And you're right. Here's some of the things they stand for: humility, authenticity, adaptability, accountability, passion, innovate. It's great how that all comes full circle. But like you said, it's interesting to hear and ask that question, because I think I want to have more conversation about the idea of giving back and making a difference, which you do. And I think that's what's really important here for people to understand, that you've taken something very, very traumatic in your life, and you've moved it into a website, and you've moved it into a conversation that we can do right now and share with people and so on. I'm going to just check very quickly here. Two things. I'm going to check more comments very quickly, because so many people are sending you love. You know that. I want to do that. I didn't check your time, because you said it. You said it in the email. You said, Peter, we could talk for a long time. But are you okay in that office area?
Okay. Thank you for asking.
I want to make sure that I'm not overstepping my bounds here, but there's so many people here just, again, putting up comments, and here he goes. Yeah. So Dr. Rhonda, thank you for sharing your story with us. This is why we do what we do: love and support others to stop and heal, to help stop and heal the pain. Yeah, right back at you, Dr. Rhonda. So thank you for being here and supporting. Really, really cool. I appreciate it so much. And Kevin Cox, thanks for tuning in from Indianapolis. Hey, we have some more people in the house. You always check in. I always appreciate that, Kevin. That's fantastic. Again, these conversations are a little tough sometimes, but they're required. And I know for me, Stephanie, I just know that I feel a sense of that I'm supposed to use my voice for good. That's how I feel about this. When you said goodness, this is why I want to have these conversations. There's no shock value to any of this. This is just, I don't I think there's enough noise in the world right now, and I just want to be using my voice to help people like you and amplify these great stories. So, Jennifer, thank you both for your strength and vulnerability. Absolutely, thank that person right there. I'm just here. I'm just here, and appreciate everyone showing up. Here's someone I recognize. Who's this beautiful person? Philanthropy is associated with wealth, so suggests it's not possible for everyone. That is so true.
Love
Giving
that.
back is what we can do. Thank you, Patricia. That makes a lot of sense to me right there. And there is an aristocratic feel to, you think of philanthropy, you think of people in tuxedos and cocktail dresses and writing big checks, which
Yeah.
is great, by the way. Obviously, money in finance makes these things kind of happen as well. But there is something to it that disconnects us. And I think that's it right there, is that maybe we associate it with being rich and wealthy and being able to write checks versus bringing it right down to the street level where we can all volunteer
Yeah.
and simply be kind. What do you think of that?
Honestly, Pia, that's where, during COVID, I couldn't run. Obviously, there were no races. So I said, what else can I do to help? And that's where I reached out to the CMHA and, was grateful enough to be placed on their board and help it from a volunteer perspective. So I think, like Patty said, we can all help, and it's not just about financial contributions. It's about your time, your love, your energy to give that to other people and just make this world a better place. So I hope we can continue to smash the stigma of philanthropy and continue to do good.
I agree 100%. Beautifully said. I appreciate you saying that. Let me move you into the direction we talked about it earlier. We pulled the card for it. I still can't get over that. We pulled a card for that. But I literally had it here as something I wanted to talk to you about because I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by it, Stephanie. And as a one-liner to share with you, I visited Rwanda many years ago, and I interviewed people who not only survived genocide, but even people who actually participated in it and committed it. And they went through the process of something they called 𝘄𝗶𝘁𝗵. And basically, it's because in Canada or in most free societies, you grow up. Wherever you grow up, we have a lot of freedom of movement. So if you don't like your neighbor, you can just literally just move and you go somewhere else. In these smaller communities and countries and so on, you just can't leave your village. You've been there, your family's been there for hundreds of years. You don't have the financial means and so on. So they had to learn to kind of live together in these environments. So forgiveness was part of that journey, the idea of being able to forgive, and they did it for themselves versus doing it for the other person. Because and you might be able to relate to this, is that it's kind of like the idea of wishing that someone else could change somehow in some way, when really it's all about you being able to change. So can you talk about forgiveness? And I'm not referring to even so much about you forgiving yourself, but maybe some of the comments that were ever moved your way through the journey, maybe some misunderstandings with professional help, with friends and family. There has to be a time when you say, I have to forgive people. I have to forgive the universe. I have to forgive myself. Can you expand on that for us?
Yes, there's a lot to unpack there for me, even just my
Yeah.
personal journey with forgiveness. And it has been a really rewarding journey. I think my previous opinion of forgiveness was something's done wrong, someone's sorry, you forgive. It's very, very transactional, very linear. And through my journey, I had to forgive a human being that may not have been sorry and that got away. And that was really difficult for me because that term justice um, is also very prevalent in going through sexual assault, and it's something that you feel like you deserve and that you want. And again, I had this massive shift through a lot of deep personal work and meditation and getting some spiritual help, getting professional help, all of the above, that's helped me realize that it's much, much deeper than that. And I learned to take emotional accountability for everything that I feel and everything that I experience. And although something happened to me, all I can control is how I react to it. And so that's where I've lived that every day. And even since you touched on earlier, when I had flesh eating disease, it was, not this is happening to me, it's how can I react to it. And so I hold that ideology and that value so close and try to live it every single day. So when it comes to forgiveness, there's been a lot of people that I've, had to forgive, and I've now shifted into the mindset that, you know, I want to act in just pure love, and for every single person, just pour out love. And I now recognize, especially after struggling so deeply with mental health, most people, they're struggling, they're suffering, and that's where, those negative emotions, that's where they come from. And so I've decided to live with just pure love for every single being, and I think that heals all. And so I know that may sound cliche or too above the clouds, but I wholeheartedly believe that, and it has changed my life since I began to act with just pure love, even for the people that did me wrong, I would say. So I'm again just beyond grateful that I've learned that, and created that reframe for myself um, and you touched on forgive myself as well through my own journey, and have grace for myself and all the struggles, because there are still dark days, and I'm able to know that there's a light still on the other side, and I'm going to keep working through that. So forgiveness has been a really, really important part of my journey.
I so relate to that and resonate with that. I just want to emphasize something, and if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. It's hard though, isn't it? And just so that no one gives up on it. I know but it is hard, isn't it? I mean, you speak about it very eloquently, and you have gotten there. But like you said, there's still dark days, and maybe there's some days where you maybe don't feel as forgiving to people. So it is a journey, correct?
And I would say on those, yes, I can very, very boldly say there are days where I don't want to forgive. I want to sit in the anger and the hurt. And I would say those days are just as important as part of your healing journey. And the forgiveness comes from forgiving yourself and not shaming yourself for having a bad day. It's okay to have a bad day. And again, my type A and perfectionism that I used to have, I had to work through that and say, this day is not going to be a good day, but that's okay. How can I find a piece of happiness, or who can I give a hug to, or what can I look forward to the next day? So it's having that forgiveness for yourself, and embracing those more those negative feelings, and having grace for yourself, that it's all part of the healing journey.
Oh, fantastic. See, I told everyone she's going to light you up. I mean, she make you feel good right there. Hey, you coach some young people these days. You're NCAA soccer person. I didn't know that. Football, I guess, if we're talking to the people in the UK or around Europe and so on, but soccer and so on. I did not know that about you. That's obviously a very cool passion. I mean, NCAA, by the way, I mean, that's not high school stuff. I mean, that's pretty serious stuff. Good for you. Tell us a little bit about your passion for that game.
Thank you. Yes. So I always joke and say I'm washed up now. So I was an NCAA soccer player, and just also part of who I am today. And I had the privilege to go out in the US and play on a full soccer scholarship for 4 years in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And piece of my heart is still there. And I visit very often just to see old teammates and friends. But that chapter of my life was in itself extremely challenging. And I think that chapter prepared me for, the evolution of the challenges I was going to face in my personal and my professional life, because it was not easy to go down the US by myself. And, everyone comes into a team and everyone is the best of the best. And I quickly realized I was no longer the best. And it was a very humbling experience, and in itself had many, many dark days. And so again, I owe my inner strength to my beautiful mother and all the other incredible men and women and others in my life that have helped shape me into this really, really strong, resilient, I'll say, resilient human being that I worked through, all the challenges, and, our team was second in the country. So it was really, really incredible experience. And so that chapter for me set me up for so much success in my personal and professional life.
Yeah, there's something I agree with you. Like, and I wanted to bring that up because I think there's very similar to some of the things we've just been talking about, that healing is a team sport. Healing is a team sport, and very similar to, I know the journey. NCAA again is at another level, everybody. So, like you said, you you had to come together and with people that you didn't know. You had to be part of something that was greater than you. And there's so many amazing lessons from playing with a team in general. That is for sure. So I'm thinking the same thing, that a lot of the inner strength that you pulled, not only from friends and family, you can pull from your lessons of being with a group of women. I'm assuming, it was a women's soccer team, right? Yeah. So the group that you went to school with, and of course shared the field with, and then traveled with, and of course your lifelong friends now, of course. And so on. I got to ask you. I mean, you live in Ontario now, right? So you're in Ontario. Are you?
All over the place.
I know, but are you a Pittsburgh Penguins fan as well?
Of course, I have been ever since Crosby was there. So yes, I was a diehard Penguins fan even before I went to school there as well. So I went to a few games in my time in Pittsburgh.
Listen, I'm gonna just tell everyone right now. I'm a closet Penguins fan. I love the Penguins. Yeah, I do all the time. I like Sid. I always like Sid the Kid. I just like him. It's just the way it is. There it is, everybody. It's out now. I have to let you know I'm a big fan. So let's talk about your coaching then. I mean, you obviously coach young people, not obviously, but you coach young people and so on. Why is that so important to you now? Like, I know you have obviously the skills that you could train people and help people, but I'm thinking it's deeper now because you have these two amazing, multiple facets of your life that you can bring to people. So talk about coaching young people, why that lights you up.
Yes. Oh, this is a very strong passion of mine. And I would say, I'm getting back into it even, through COVID. I found, I had to kind of take a pause from a lot of things in my life, which is really important for everyone to do, because I wasn't feeling whole. And I said, no, I can't help other people if I'm not feeling okay myself. But, throughout the years and throughout my journey, after being a collegiate athlete and continuing down my professional career, I recognized that I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, and I said, how can I help other people not make these mistakes? Because this is important. And so with absolute passion and grace, I went, who can I help, and how can I share my journey? So to this day, I will visit schools and do speaking engagements and speak to younger generations about either from a professional perspective and what my journey was like, my chapters throughout my professional career, and like I said, the mistakes that I've made, and to help them. And then from a personal side of things, obviously with Light Up the Dark, I've taken another approach to helping not just women. And I love that you continue to say that, Peter. It's men, it's women, it's everyone, all encompassing, who experiencing this, who could experience this. So for me, again, it's just it's less about me and my journey. It's about how can I help other people. And so I've started taking jujitsu. Dr. Rana talked about self-defense. So I started self-defense classes to hopefully help others. And I love that because it's honestly, it's less about, the physicality component. It's more about how empowering it is. So if anyone out there is thinking, I thought about martial arts, thought about jujitsu, please do it, because every day it just lights my soul on fire. And you feel just empowered, you feel safe. And I'm so happy that I took the plunge and started doing that. So my hope is eventually to help teach self-defense as well. So I just love coaching. I love giving back, and I will continue to do so as long as I can.
Oh, that's servant leadership right there. That's what it is. I mean, you have a servant leadership heart, and that's what you're thinking. And if I'm not mistaken about that discipline, it really is about using energy, isn't it? And letting energy shift. It's not even, if I'm not mistaken, the discipline is all about energy and being able to use, in some cases, the power or force of another person in this particular case, and use it to your advantage, and be able to understand that. And if I'm not mistaken as well, it's very defensive. It's not an aggressive way of being. It's really a philosophy, isn't it? It's more than physicality.
There's multiple forms, Peter, and so jiu-jitsu there's a physical component to jiu-jitsu, but you're speaking to, I don't want to misname if it's Tai Chi or Muay Thai. I forget which form it is of the energy exchange. That's my next goal. I will take on that, but right now jiu-jitsu is more physical, but still it's very calm. And so my NCAA aggressive nature has to now calm down and be very composed and very strategic, and just very peaceful in an intense situation. So it's really, really helpful. And a lot of police officers, a lot of Army individuals also train in jiu-jitsu as well. So I've always wanted to do it and just decided to take the plunge. I'm so happy because, like I said, it just lights me up, and I feel so empowered. So I will say that, after going through assault, I know in my heart that even with self-defense training, I may not have been able to do anything. And so it's a hard realization, but something I really want to share. And so regardless of knowing that, it's still so empowering to do martial arts and just feel strong and beautiful and powerful. So that's why I do it, and I love it.
I see it. Well, I can see it in your face. I mean, I hear it in your voice. You just like, I love that stuff. So I love that stuff. I like to be out with you and walking around knowing that I have someone with me like that. That'd be awesome. I would, and see the energy would wear off. And I love that. I'd be like, hey, you want to talk to her? Don't talk to me. It's all good. I super love that. Hey, so again, there's lots of great comments in here. People that are just sending you so much love. Are they kicking you out?
No, I'm just kidding. I know my lovely friend MJ had the same thing where she
the battery.
running out of battery here. I wasn't prepared to chat your ear off.
You know what, Stephanie, this is fantastic. I tell you, that happened to that's right. And I kind of like that actually, because for me it's like I've tried to do short shows. I really have, but I just don't know how to do those. And to be frank with you, I'm not interested. I like spending time with when someone moves me, I want to spend time with them, and I'm going to soak up every second of them, and I'm stealing you right now. So
thank you. So happy.
I'm just pulling so much from it. I appreciate it. So I just wanted to show a few things that again, forgiveness brings about deep healing for the self. It's so true, Dr. Ron. That's what I was referring to. It's really a gift for yourself, for the forgiveness part. And Stephanie, you talked about it as well, is that it's a journey that you continue to go down. You do it for yourself, and some days you feel like it, and some days you don't. And so we just have to keep top of mind with that. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful decisions in the world. It's so true. It is a decision. That's really well said, Chris. I mean, I know there's a lot of emotion wrapped up in forgiveness because you're reliving whatever you're trying to forgive, but it is a decision. It really is. And so I appreciate that feedback and stuff. Daniel always puts up great comments here. Now Daniel, just so you know, Stephanie, him and his wife have 6 special needs kids that they adopted.
Wow.
6. So that gentleman right there knows a little bit about things that we're talking about, including forgiveness. He grew up in a very rough foster. So let's talk about that. Every day I thank my foster dad, who would beat me and call me nothing but a piece of, and he said that multiple times. I've seen the interviews, and I wouldn't amount to anything in my life. It was part of the journey I had to endure to get where I am today. Watching you, Stephanie and Peter Clark. Hey, thank you, Daniel. And I know of your journey of growing up in foster care, and the brutal story he had growing up. And then what does his heart do? He goes out, and him and his beautiful wife find 6 little souls to help through this world. Can you imagine?
Amazing.
Yeah, I just wanted, that's a
massive hug to you, Daniel. Thank you.
Yeah, that is so cool. So appreciate that. There you go. Yeah, we got to keep that. You're right. I love the fact you call your mom Patty. I mean, that is so cool.
That throws people off.
I mean, you're just like drinking buddies. You're like, yeah, Patty will pick this one up. She's Patty. But yeah, healing is a team sport. It really is. And so absolutely. And this is great. And thank you, Dr. Ron. Appreciate it. We thank you for the conversation. Worth time well invested. Thank you. That's the whole point of these things and so on. Let me ask you this. This is something that's, I mean, it's ongoing for you, Stephanie. So I don't think there's going to be one definitive answer here, but what are you most proud of right now on your journey so far? Like, it's just been an incredible journey, obviously. You're still there, you're still in it. But I'm wondering, up to this point in time, maybe there's something that stands out to you about the pride, if you will, of your journey so far.
I'm just processing that question. It's a powerful one, and I can feel the emotions. I can feel the tears, because it's, like I said, I don't say I'm proud of myself very often, and I so appreciate all the people who tell me that they're proud of me. There's a beautiful person on this call, I believe. Her name's JL, and she's been such a such a rock for me, and telling me how proud she is of me. And oh, I can't thank her enough. So just sending you love, JL. Thank you for everything. And with that, it's so interesting, Peter, the people who've recently brought in my life, you included, who have shown me how proud I should be of who I am. And that's the MJs of the world, Sona, JL. It's the people who empower you to be yourself. And so when you answer your question of what I'm most proud of, I look at all the challenges I've been through in life, from less eating to struggling as an NCAA athlete, and conquering that, and then to this next really challenging chapter. I recognize how in all of those moments where the courage came from was me just being my true self. And I'm continuously seeing my courage, and that naturalness of it, of being brave and making really brave and bold decisions continuously coming to life, in my personal, my professional life. And I'm just really proud of everything I've stood up for, everything I stand for, and continue to stand for, no matter what. And I don't, alter who I am and what I believe in. And again, those people I mentioned have been my inspiration for being my authentic self. And I know that the authenticity and authenticness is being thrown out so often, but it's so important, so powerful. And so when I look back at my journey and look at who I am today, I'm just really proud of who I've become, and that I continue to live each and every day with that courage.
You just exude it. I can't explain it. I know it when I see it. It finding the right words. I have to keep digging into my thesaurus and learn more words, because yeah, again, but I sense that with you, like you have taken this experience and have made it so bright and so positive, so that when I'm watching, or anyone's listening to you, you're just naturally inspired to go, yeah, I want to be like that. I mean, I think that is just an incredible gift to be able to do that, because you could have easily, and I'm imagining you probably had a day or two like that, you could have easily gone a completely different way, or even stayed neutral and quiet and silent about it, which makes it even sadder sometimes, because that means we would never experience this light. So I just want to tell you that, just so that you know that, like, see it. I'm telling you, everyone that's listening right now sees it in you. And I so appreciate that you decided to go in that direction. We talked about the last couple of years has been tough, right? It's been tough on everybody. This, and of course, the last 4 or 5 years have been overwhelming for you, and so on. So all you have to do is turn on the news and watch 5 minutes, and we're overwhelmed, right? We were talking about our friend Chris over in the border of Ukraine and Moldova, where refugees are coming across the border. So many different things going on in the world. It's hard to stay hopeful sometimes. I'm just wondering for you right now, what keeps you hopeful and optimistic? What keeps you hopeful and optimistic these days?
Honestly, that's a great question. And then there's some days where it's hard to find. It's hard to find that hope. It's hard to find that light, Peter. I think my personal hope comes from seeing those moments of greatness, goodness, as someone would say, and the continued people that I'm being brought to, that are just beacons of light. And I have so much hope for the world, for humanity. And again, there are many days it's very easy not to, but it's the people in my life who I'm so grateful for, that continue to show me that there are amazing people in this world, and that we can't give up. And again, I relate to my own personal challenges, how I never gave up. And you touched on it here. There were days, like I shared, of I was very close to giving up, and that hurts my heart. But I know, that was part of my journey. And I now know to my very core, I cannot give up. I cannot, give up on my loved ones and those around me, and the world as a whole. So that gives me hope to know that all of us can continue, to be courageous and continue to stand up for what we believe in. And despite all the challenges we currently face, you still see those brave people speaking up no matter what. And so those humans are the ones that give me hope for all of us.
Well said. And you are that for other people now. You know that, right? I think you recognize that. I hope you do. And in that recognition, it's not a pride thing, it's not an ego thing. It's just a recognition of that there's people right now that are equally being inspired by you this second, as you are with some of the people you mentioned or some of the people that have helped you get to this point in time. So knowing that you're doing that for others is a very powerful thing. And so, yeah, just embrace that light. It's fantastic. Hey, it doesn't everything around here is not just heavy hearted stuff. That. I'm not like that all the time, and we got to get to know people. You already know this. So just before you go, of course, I got to show you your website. We're going to do that as well. There's no doubt about that. But we got to do a little this or that, because I got to find out a little bit more about you. And because I learned a little bit about you today. Seriously, flesh-eating disease. We didn't even talk about that. NCAA, all of the your success there. We just touched on all those things. So there's another conversation coming.
There is.
Somewhere down the road. It's coming. But for right now, we got to do a little this or that. That's what we got to do. Okay, there you go. This or that. I mean, you got to have a little intro. You know that, Steph. You're pretty. By the way, everybody, just so you know, we didn't talk too much about it, but The Gathering. I just want to throw it out there. You've been there for so many years. All these people you just talked about, Sona, MJ, other people, Ryan Berman, for example. All the people that you've met and so on. You've made that happen. You were every time I talked to somebody out at The Gathering, they'd say, "Do you know Stephanie?" I was like, I don't know Stephanie. Well, she's the one. She is the person. She is the, and I was like, wow. And that come from that. That's the same sentiment from Chris and Ryan and other people there. So just so you know that. But I'm just telling you, everybody, she knows how to put on a show. Just let me tell you something.
Oh, I said to you first time I saw the show, Peter, I was blown away. So massive kudos to you for creating this incredible space. And I will say, I get so much recognition and praise for The Gathering, but it is a massive team effort.
Yes.
Maybe a few of my team members are watching this call and love them so much, and this would not be possible without all of them. So it's not me. This is a complete team effort, but thank you for that.
The shout out to The Gathering, everyone down there. I know there's a full team of people down there. I know there is. And so I just want to make sure that, and they're coming up to their 10th anniversary for 2023. Go check that out. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 But hey, we got to learn more about you, this or that. No right or wrong. There's no right or wrong here. Okay. We're just chatting. I have no idea what we're just going to chat a little bit. How about this? And I'll keep it gender neutral by you'll see which way I'll go. So Spider-Man or Batman?
Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Just to keep it gender neutral here. Supergirl or Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman.
There you go. You like the plane. I'm going to guess you like the plane. I don't know. I have no idea. I know you like traveling. So there you go. You're Canadian. So I got to ask you this question. Simple. I know Pittsburgh and all that stuff, but forget that for now. Be Canadian for a second. Blue Rodeo or Bryan Adams?
Ooh, Bryan Adams.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. I like Bryan Adams too. I would have bet Blue Rodeo. I don't know why. Anyway, enough said.
Love both.
Love both. Skydive or scuba dive?
Ooh. Skydive.
Have you done both?
Oh, I want to scuba dive, so I don't know yet, but skydive, love.
Oh, you've done that. Okay, good for you. Okay, fantastic. I haven't done that. So
You have to do it, Peter.
what do you think about age here wise? What's a better age, 25 or 45?
45.
45. Yeah. I mean,
Not there yet.
yeah, I know. I'm just thinking 45 is a cool middle rate, that beautiful age. 25, I don't know. I'm not sure.
You've learned a lot at 45. My 25-year-old self would say 45.
Yes, that's very true. Okay, if I come to see you in Ontario or Pittsburgh, one or the other, are we going for Chinese food or Italian food?
Italian.
Oh, nice. Okay. Do you like red wine?
Love all wine, yes.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so I got to ask this one. If you love red wine, I got to ask you this one. If we were to go out, is it more like a Shiraz, or are we going for a white? Are we going for a red? What are we doing?
Depends on the meal. I have an incredible brother who's an amazing chef, so he has helped me navigate the wine and food world. So I would say depends on the dish, but I would enjoy both red or white.
Okay, there you go. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I'm kind of a red guy. So
Okay.
yeah, I
Next
love
time.
red and pasta. Love that stuff. How about this? A sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Yeah, you get up early. Do you like getting up early? Are you early rising?
Early bird. I'm a farmer, so yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Who am I kidding? Yeah. What am I talking about? Absolutely. Okay. Here's a trick. Well, it's not a trick one, but I'm interested now more than ever. A day to sit and talk mental health and just awareness, things like that. Michelle Obama or Brene Brown?
Ooh. Oh, come on, Peter.
You can have both. I mean, I was hoping they would show up at the same time, but let's just say they didn't.
Michelle Obama.
There you go. And I know you referenced it. That's why I was thinking, oh, she referenced Brene Brown. And I like her work too. I must say, I know of her work and all these, and you're right, the vulnerability, especially the shame one, that TED Talk, which is obviously one of the most viral TED Talks out there. But yeah, Michelle is something else. Wouldn't she be something to sit with?
She exudes just elegance and power in the best way. I would love to meet her.
Okay, there you go. And I'm going to take this clip and send it to her people. Right, there you go. We're going to do that. How about this? Courage or character?
That's a great question. Kind of go hand in hand. I would say character. Your character brings out courage. So I'm going to say character and just stay true to that character. Do not give it up.
Yeah, I like that answer. I've never heard that. You're absolutely right. I mean, you could be courageous and your character's not so good. And you can even have, if you have a good character and your courage is not there, that's kind of okay. You can work on that. I know what you mean by that. I appreciate that. That's a great one. This I'm fascinated with always. This question here: hope or freedom?
Hope. Yes, definitely hope. And I have so much of it right now, which I feel very grateful about.
That is awesome. Yeah, I tend to agree with always that one too. I always kind of lean to, I shouldn't be saying that because of course when I ask them that, I know what I think. But anyway, all right, finish this sentence for me, my beautiful friend. Finish this one right here. I love my life because.
There are many reasons I love my life.
Do tell.
I love my life because of the people that surround me. That's my first and honest thought about why I love my life. There's so many things to love, but it truly is the people that I'm surrounded by. So all my love to everyone listening. Thank you so much.
Yeah, see, that's big. I agree with you. Listen, hey, that's the best people in your life. Like you said, you mentioned Patty and your friends and family and your running partner. Your running partner was Sam. So I just want to make sure we got a plug out there. Hey, I want to show again what you do. We're going to show the website, everybody. We got to talk about that because it's super important. This is the whole purpose of being here. We wanted to make sure that this story was told, and if it helps one person out there, and please, everybody, recognize this is not a women's issue. We're not talking. This is a human issue. Calling all my male friends and people that are in my network, please, learning Stephanie's story will help us all. And the energy that she puts behind that website. And I'm going to put that up in a second here. 2 seconds. I want to show her. I always love your work. So, I mean, this is why I want to make sure here's a little bit at the end here for support. Reach out to her. So let's have a quick little peek here. Only 30 seconds. Here we go.
Over the last 2 years, I realized how incredibly lucky I am to have such beautiful, incredibly supportive family and friends. And it just broke my heart to think that people could be going through what I am and have absolutely no one there for them. I'm very grateful. I need to do something and I need to help other people through their journeys. And that was one of the biggest inspirations for me to share my story and launch the Light Up the Dark initiative. There's been many things that have helped me through my journey. Seeking professional help, seeking, a traumatic specialist has truly, truly saved my life. And I know there's still a stigma around, feeling weak and asking for help. And I just think that's so important to remember that it's okay to feel not okay, and it is more than okay to ask for help. We cannot do this alone. I could definitely not have done this alone.
Fantastic stuff right there. I wanted to make sure people see that. There's ways they can reach out to you, of course. You can I'm going to put it along the bottom here. Let's put up Light Up the Dark. There's the website, everybody. There's a little bit more about Stephanie's story on the bottom here. Let's do it right now. Before you go, I cannot do it because I've been looking at it so much, and I'm so inspired when I see it. I'm going, I just love what she's doing, and I love that you tell this story. And so anything you want to, let's depart with a few things of people about how they can support you, how they can reach out to you. How do you want to move forward with Light Up the Dark and this story? I think it's really important that we try to support one another. And so how can we support you is really what the question is.
Wow, thank you for asking that, Peter. I really appreciate that. So, I am on, a continued healing journey. And, I think the biggest support I can ask for is just the love and checking in. And I think one of my biggest takeaways was that people said to me, I didn't know you were depressed, or how can you be depressed? You have a home and a car and a great job and all these things. And it's just such a good reminder that you truly never know the battles that people are facing. And whether you're sitting on a bus beside somebody, or you're walking on the street, or it's somebody at work, I think the biggest takeaway is always checking in on the people that you love, and the people that maybe could use a smile, or use a true how are you actually doing. And so I want everyone to take away that, to check in on those around you, and just to continue to act with absolute love for everybody. And so for me, I will continue down that path, continue on my healing process. I will, I'll always share my therapist, my connections, because I've tested a lot, from Reiki to meditation to professional, therapists, to EMDR as a type of traumatic counseling. So there's so many things that I've tried solely to go, how can I share this? How can I help other people? So for me, Light Up the Dark is just the beginning, I would say. And I didn't know what it would be, to be perfectly honest. I just went for it and started running and put up a website and had an outpouring of love and support. And so I said, if I can be a beacon of light for other people and, empower them to speak up and share their stories, or be, a driver to help raise awareness or raise funds for organizations that already exist, that would be extremely fulfilling. So a lot of people ask me if I'm starting my own charity or not-for-profit, and I'd say maybe. I hope. I know Sona and I have a lot of similar missions to bring mental health accessible to everyone. So I know I'm really inspired by her. And so there's a lot of things I want to accomplish in this world, just to give back and help other people on their journey. So that's what I'll say with Light Up the Dark, is it's not done. And we'll continue along with running and spreading love and awareness.
Fantastic. See, speaking of lights, there it is. There you got the stamp of approval. MJ, beacon of light. That's what you are, Stephanie. So
the biggest compliment.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But listen, not to take away, she's just literally saying the obvious. You are a beacon of light, and you actually have. I learned so much through this conversation. I'm learning more about myself, so that we can all then learn, and then take that learning and try to share it with other people, and try to just try to understand. Just start from the position of wanting to understand. And again, I'll repeat it until this show is over, is that it's a human thing we're talking about, everybody. We're talking about a human event that Stephanie experienced, and then her journey should inspire us all to recognize that this is something we can all be a part of, trying to find the solution. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for showing up. And you were traveling, and you're in summer mode and doing stuff, and yet you kept this interview. I so appreciate it. I hope you had fun.
It was amazing. And so, Brene Brown talks about vulnerability hangover. So I'm very honest that I will have a vulnerability hangover after this. And it will be challenging, but beautiful and all part of my journey. So Peter, I can't thank you enough for creating this space for me and be able to share my story and the lessons that I learned. And I mean, you are your own beacon of light, and you're the person, you've created this platform for people like myself. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I had an amazing experience, and please know that you are a forever friend to me, and anyone that was able to join in, please reach out to me if you ever need to.
Yeah, please do, everybody. And again, Light Up the Dark is just the start here. Where it goes from there, I'm going to be staying in touch. We're going to figure out what's going on here. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and all of the comments, all the beautiful comments for Stephanie and her cause, and all the things that now, all the story that she shared. I know I appreciate it. I'll go in and respond to every single one of you. Thank you for that. Please reach out to her. Go to the website. She'll get it. I know she's inundated with things and stuff, but please, let's make sure that we keep this conversation going, because we're helping somebody. There's somebody out there that heard this right now, and maybe that'll help us all sleep better, knowing that we helped just that one person. So Stephanie, you've done so good today. I see all the deep breaths and stuff. Thank you so much. I just hope the light shone. Yeah, I hope.
Conversation, Peter. Thank you so much.
So appreciate it. Everybody else, thank you so much tuning in. It was just always a pleasure for you to be here, and so on. And you know how we end this thing all the time. Listen, everybody, just be kind out there. I mean, just be kind out there. That's all you have to do. Be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind out there. Stephanie, I always try to figure out how to end these shows with a video. And many years ago, I did some filming for a charity, and long story short, they had a path in the woods where multiple signs, and one of the signs on it said courage. And I love the word courage. I mean, I love the word courage. So I said to myself, Peter, just get that clip of you walking down that path, and you'll use it someday. Because you really want to emphasize courage. So first of all, I'm going to play you, we're going to play out the video right now. It's a song I wrote. I got to finish this song and record it one day, but believe it or not, I don't really show off my singing skills, because I can't, just so you know. I recorded this song. I wrote this idea because it's about this journey of going on a road, and it's my road. And I don't want you to come down this road. Go down your own. Basically, I have to go down my own road. And listening to your story is all about courage. So I just applaud you on that. And so I'm going to play you out with that. Courage. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to see you on the other side. Don't you? I know I got to let her go, everybody. She got things to do. Everybody else, be kind out there. Good to see you, everybody. Take care. We'll see you on the other side, Stephanie.
Thanks, Peter.
1, 2, 3.